Hello everybody, hopefully you can all hear me. My name is Greg Trainer and I come from Spotsee. You may not be aware of who Spotsee are, but we have been producing condition monitoring, temperature monitoring, shock impact for about 40 years. So we monitor everything from airplane engines, automotive parts, turbines, but more relevant and more importantly, we look after drugs, samples, and even blood. So we do lots of unit level traceability for all of these components. And first of all, I'm going to talk about two very important drugs, beer and coffee, and we use our technology in that. So we use our chemistry to check if a beer or a beverage is at the right temperature. We understand the chemical reactions and the visibility of various temperatures. So that's what we specialize in, whether it's for a bottle of beer or in a Starbucks coffee cup, we know that it's the right temperature. Now we take that technology. Beer and coffee are very important, especially depending on what time of the day it is, but also we can help reduce pharmaceutical scrappage and waste in the supply chain. So if we look, 30% of pharmaceutical drugs are actually binned because of breaches in the cold chain. And if we expand that out a little bit, we look at what happens, a sample or reagent in the supply chain, we can help prevent that. And there's a number of easy ways we can do it, but we think we do it in quite a simple way. So we make lots of products, everything from a very simple indicator. So we make simple visual indicators that are just a label and that changes color. So you can get very easy information that there's been a temperature breach, so something's being frozen or something's being too hot. So that saves a lot in terms of if we're collecting a sample, we know not to put that into the laboratory because we're not going to get a valid test. If we're making a drug with a reagent or something, we can tell if it's had a temperature breach. And again, we can stop processing that and save money up front rather than find out later down the line that the product is no good. We can also use the technology if we want to automate it, so we can do it in a 2D code or an RFID format. So if we want the same information, but we want it automated. We also make data loggers and tracking devices. We are a global company. We've got manufacturing in Europe and North America, and we've got a team of partners around the world. So we track at the pallet level. We've got a tracker, so we can provide real-time tracking information. So if somebody wants to know where their pallet is, we have a solution for that. We have a solution at the case level. So if somebody wants to find out, has this case of products or case of samples or case of vaccines been transported correctly, we have simple solutions. And when I mean simple, I mean very small, very easy to use. This is a sticker and you can clearly see if there's been a temperature breach. Or right down at the patient level. So if we want to monitor blood or a sample for the patient, we've got a simple solution for that. There are other solutions available, so there are electronic solutions that can do this as well, but from a usability point of view, we have to take the electronic solutions, we have to read them, so you either have to take it out of the pack, open up the pack, put it onto your laptop. That takes quite a bit of effort, or else have the infrastructure in place to automatically read that. That's quite a bit of effort, whereas these simple solutions, it's a visual check that something has happened. What is also a requirement is after the product is used, what happens to the product? If you have to dispose of an electronic device, you've got a battery which can't be put into landfill, you've got plastic, electronic components. If we're thinking about a more sustainable future or more sustainable now, these are paper-based solutions, so they're very easy to dispose of, and it doesn't need to go to special kind of waste or special disposal. So these are a lot more environmentally considerate than some of the existing solutions that we also provide, by the way. These are solutions for high temperature, but we also monitor cold temperature. And so if we want to send something to Greenland, for example, where it's going to potentially be hit with cold, then we also are able to monitor cold. My most interesting insight into this is in hotter countries. A lot of the vaccination programs are not successful because the product's been frozen. So you think, how in a hot country, how in East Africa or how in India does stuff get frozen? Because the cold chain is not that reliable. It's normally put beside a block of ice. These simple solutions help eliminate that, because we know that if something gets frozen, it's dead. So if it's a biologic or a vaccine that's not meant to be frozen, it just doesn't work. So, you know, we're putting things in people's arms that are basically just water. So in India, we see a lot of where we're trying to put lots and lots of drugs in a van, and it's pumping out hot air. The drugs that are beside the cooler get frozen. So the Indian government, they did a recent survey, 30% of the vaccines had been frozen in India. So why are these programs not that effective? It's actually because they're frozen. So it's a real issue. And this is probably our most recent, but also a very, very simple innovation. We've combined our freeze technology with our high temperature monitoring, and so just in one little simple tag, you've got a cold chain monitor. So a 2 to 8 monitor or a 2 to 25 monitor, we've got it all just here. So very simple, very easy to use. One of my helpful assistants is going to demonstrate this. This lady is highly trained, so just pull out the tab and now it's live. So it is significant, because if you just have the monitor without the activation, then it's difficult to transport. These are easy to transport, and then you get a highly trained person to pull out the tab. So does this matter? Apart from, I think it's important, Pia, I think you think it's important, but does it really matter? And we think so, and also some of the new legislation we've seen. So the DSCSA recently added the language of temperature excursions. So if it's been exposed to too hot, too cold, UV or physical damage, we need to know about that. And actually the most recent legislation mandates that. So if there's been one of these excursions, we need to know about it, we need to capture it. Because again, coming back, and maybe I should have started with the patient, but if we get to the patient, we need to make sure that the patient's got medicine that has got the desired strength, quality and purity. So these solutions help that, and also our solutions help comply with the legislation that people are now mandating. I was at a recent life science conference. Yes, we do lots of temperature, but physical damage. A large top 10 pharmaceutical company, they were having 50 incidents of damaged packaging. So your cold chain can be as secure as possible, your packaging can be fine, but if you drop it, it's not worth anything. So products getting damaged, packaging getting damaged, and we have got simple solutions that help prevent that. We are with our partners, Buhl Bønsøe and Stand 18. So if you want to hear anything more about what we're doing or how we can help, please pop by in the next hour or so to have a quick chat. So we're happy to share some examples of what we do. Anybody got any questions?
How robust is it? Can it get wet?
Yeah, it can get wet. There's a protective layer on the top, and there's limits to these things. If it's going to get very wet, then you've probably got another issue. But moisture ingress is not something I'm concerned about. And actually, yeah, most of them are sealed.
Apart from the pallet tracking, do you track containers too?
Yeah.
Dental.
Yeah, it's a solution that connects onto a container easily as well. Thank you for coming. Thank you all.